Some ideas spread because they are clear. Others endure because they are structured. Martianus Capella did not invent a science. He did not discover a law of nature. Instead, he organized knowledge, and in doing so, he shaped how it would be taught for centuries. In the fading years of the Roman world, certainty was becoming fragile. Institutions shifted. Education, once centralized and stable, began to fragment. What survived needed to be preserved, not just in content, but in form. Capella understood something essential. Information alone is not enough. It must be arranged, remembered, passed on. So he wrote a book unlike most others, a story, a marriage, a structure disguised as narrative. And within it, he placed the foundations of learning. Very little is known about the life of Martianus Capella. He likely lived in the 5th century, a time when the Western Roman Empire was in decline. His home is often associated with Carthage, a city that still carried the intellectual traditions of Rome, even as political stability weakened. He may have worked as a lawyer, or within local administration, a figure connected to civic life rather than isolated from it. But the details remain uncertain. There are no extensive records, no personal accounts, no clear biography. What remains is a shadow of a life, defined less by documented events and more by a single enduring work. Capella's major work is known as De nuptiis Philologiae et Mercurii, the marriage of philology and Mercury. It is not a textbook, not in any conventional sense. It is an allegory, a story in which philology, the love of learning, is married to Mercury, the messenger of the gods. At their wedding, 7 figures appear. Each represents a discipline, each delivers a speech, and through those speeches, a system takes shape. The 7 figures in Capella's work became known as the 7 liberal arts: grammar, rhetoric, logic, arithmetic, geometry, music, astronomy. Each is personified, given voice, presence, authority. They do not appear as abstract subjects, but as participants in the story. Together, they form a complete system. Divided into 2 groups, the trivium, focused on language and reasoning, and the quadrivium, focused on number and structure. Capella did not invent these disciplines. They already existed in various forms. What he did was gather them, organize them, and present them as a unified whole. A curriculum before the concept was formalized, a structure that could be taught, repeated, and preserved. Why present education as a story? Because stories endure. Capella embedded instruction within narrative, personified disciplines, gave them voices, characteristics, even personalities. This made abstract knowledge more accessible, more memorable, but it also did something else. It transformed learning into something relational, not just facts, but interactions. Capella's work stands between 2 eras, the classical Roman world and the medieval one that would follow. As institutions declined, his book became a vessel, preserving knowledge that might otherwise have been lost, copied, studied, passed from generation to generation, not because it was simple, but because it was structured. Despite its influence, Capella's work is not easy. It is dense, layered with references to classical literature, philosophy, and mythology. His language shifts between prose and poetry, at times highly technical, at others symbolic and indirect. Meaning is not always immediate, it must be worked toward. This complexity made the text challenging, but also valuable. It encouraged commentary, explanation, teaching. Readers did not simply consume the text. They engaged with it, interpreted it, expanded upon it. In this way, the difficulty became part of its function. Not a barrier, but a method. One that ensured the work would be studied, rather than simply read aloud. For centuries, Capella's framework shaped education. His 7 liberal arts became the foundation of medieval learning. Students encountered these subjects not as separate fields, but as parts of a whole, a system inherited rather than invented anew. His influence extended into monasteries, schools, and early universities, often without his name being emphasized. The structure remained, even as the author receded. Martianus Capella did not become widely famous. He is not often remembered outside scholarly circles, but his work persisted, not through recognition, but through use. His ideas became embedded, integrated, so deeply that they appeared natural, as though they had always been there. Martianus Capella left behind a single unusual work, but that work reshaped education, not by discovery, but by design. Some thinkers create new knowledge, others preserve it. Capella did something different. He arranged it, and in that arrangement, he ensured that knowledge itself would continue. Some stories fade, others wait to be heard.